Welcome to the Cinema 9 podcast. Thank you for joining us all today. It is 7:15 Eastern on a Wednesday. This is typically when the three of us get together. I am your host, Travis Roy. Below me is my other co-host, Eric. Our regular co-host, Mike Govier, is not going to be with us today. He's taking the night off to learn more about time management skills. But we do have our good friend Brennan from Ghost Story Guys and Weird Together, largely the truth himself, Brennan Storr. Thanks for coming on, Brennan.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. This is I've been looking forward to this. I so rarely get a chance to talk about things other than, weird shit. So this is a welcome opportunity.
Yeah, as a supernatural podcast person, I admit, part of me was like, oh, we're getting Brennan on in October. We're going to do some spooky shit. And then you picked Cliffhanger. And it's like, well, actually, that makes a whole bunch of sense. He's probably ready for a break from the whole thing, spooky yuki.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It was a good choice. And, on a personal note, I know Brennan for a while now. For one, I started as a listener of his podcast, The Ghost Story Guys, available everywhere that podcasts can be listened to. And also he used to produce my old podcast, which was really nice of him until that kind of fell apart when COVID came and life got in the way, et cetera, et cetera. But I feel like I've kind of come full circle in a way in my podcasting, because like yours Ghost Story Guys was that, and Mark Maron's were the first podcasts I even listened to. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, I was not a podcaster until then.
I'm shooting for Maron one day.
We'll get there, dude. 10 years or more.
Yeah, right.
I'll take it.
We're happy to have you on. Why don't you tell our audience a little bit about maybe yourself and like what your podcast history is and where we can find you and stuff.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm the co-host, as Travis said, of the Ghost Story Guys podcast. We're a true life storytelling show. So we tell ostensibly true life stories of the strange and unusual. I mean, we're called Ghost Story Guys, but it doesn't stop there. We've got all kinds of weird stuff. I won't bother naming it because it's not going to make sense to, I think, people who don't know the subject. But I will say, if you've ever had a story that you've told someone, you've said, look, I don't normally believe this kind of shit, but it's that kind of show. We've got a great audience, a lot of skeptics in there, which I really love, because we're not a religious show. It's not about that. It's just about, hey, sometimes weird stuff happens. There's really nowhere to put that mentally. So come on, people will send us in their stories. We tell them, we talk about them, we have a laugh. We like to talk about mental health a lot on there. And I've been doing that for about 6 years. It'll be 6 years in February. And started out from absolutely nothing. And now we're here. And it's not too bad. I actually make a full-time living from it. Not a great full-time living, but I'm able to do that, to sort of focus on that full-time. And I also do the horror live stream Weird Together with Joseph Camo. Joseph is the host of The Cardinal Rule on YouTube. He's a football commentator, I guess you'd say. And that's a monthly thing where, we talk about a different independent horror movie every month, and Largely the Truth, which is an interview show. And that's been on hiatus for a while because I've been working on some pretty in-depth projects for Ghost Story Guys. But now that those are done, I'm looking at starting that back up. And Largely the Truth is just me kind of talking to cool people. I interview authors, artists, musicians. Just before I went on break, I had started interviewing filmmakers. I interviewed, I don't know if you saw Hellbender or The Deeper You Dig, a couple indie horror films that Shudder picked up, both really good stuff. But anyways, the directors, they're made by a family, like one family kind of does everything. And I managed to get them on the show. So just, again, a chance to talk to interesting people. And that's kind of me. I write. I've got a book out, Strange Little Place. The new second edition will be out sometime soonish.
Very exciting.
I think. Yeah. I just got the cover proof today. So I'm very excited. The guy, I think it's Doug Hogan, does really great work. So that's awesome. That is me.
That's awesome. We're happy to have you on, man.
Yeah, congrats on that second book coming out, and I'm excited to say that one of my a sentence of one of mine things might be in there. I'm excited about that.
It is indeed.
Right.
I believe I got it in just under the wire. I got to double check because I got to do one more editor. They're going to send me one more before editing pass, but I'm pretty sure.
If it doesn't, I won't be. I'll be fine. But I do again recommend his podcast because on a personal note, from listening to that and absorbing that, I really feel like a life lesson was granted to me, and that I used to always think of myself as a skeptical person, but just by being more open and listening to that kind of stuff, I realized, being skeptical doesn't just mean rejecting everything outright. So I'm a lot more in the middle, I think, than where I used to be before, and I think that's podcast had something to do with that. So I'm thankful for it.
That's cool, man. Yeah, as you say, we have scientists who listen to the show. We have psychologists, psychiatrists. I mean, it's not a highbrow show. Don't get me wrong. It's mostly dick jokes.
Oh yeah, and farts.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. But as I say, I like to say that we sort of you can come to the show and take what you want from it. We're not preaching anything. Like I said, we're not preaching anything, and we're pretty fair about calling bullshit. Like the episode that just came out, we had Craig Owens of Bizarre LA on, and Craig is a great tour guide, historian, and he came on to talk about the Queen Mary and just really kind of broke down, this is why the Unsolved Mysteries episode that kind of catapulted it to fame is total bullshit.
Yeah.
And things like this. So yeah.
Fun. Sounds very Charles Fordian, if you're in an anomalous phenomenon.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
And now you get to talk movies with us, which you'd usually do anyways. Like you find a way to like weasel them in, which I do that in my life too. Every time I talk to my therapist, I'm like, have you seen such and such? And she's like, why are you? No, I haven't seen that movie. Well, I don't even know what you're doing therapizing me then, but all right.
Right. I watch a lot of movies, so this is good. Like I watch like 30 to 50 movies a month.
That's about what I'm at. I started taking note and write them all down once we started this podcast. And it turns out I watch far too many movies, which I'll tell you all about some starting now. We always kind of kick off our show with our quarantine viewing picks, COVID never ending. So the title of the segment never really seems to end either. What have I watched this week? Let's see. Eric, unlike you, I really liked Phantasm 1 so much that I went and watched Phantasm 2. And then last night I watched Phantasm 3, man. I liked Phantasm 3 as much as I liked Phantasm 1 and 2. In fact, there was even more dumb guns in this one, which means a lot to me. These movies, I mean, like there's one or two for like every decade for 40 years. This is a cultural milestone, and I really suggest you revisit the Phantasm movie.
Okay.
No,
it's terrible.
I was listening to that episode the other day, and I was like, "Really, Phantasm's great."
It's
like
great.
And I was thinking about that with Cliffhanger, because just briefly, like watching the EPK stuff to get a sense of the film for this. Rennie Harlin's talking about this gigantic computer they use to composite shots together, and in part 4, which I think is the only one not directed by Don Coscarelli, I think it's part 4. Yeah. The director like literally built an entire 3D sequence just in Maya in the computer in a laptop by himself over 6 months. Like the technology's come so far, and that movie costs like what it cost to style Stallone's hair on Cliffhanger.
But they're such labors of love, even number 3, clearly. And Reggie, like, come on. I love it. It was great. Jesus. I watched a non-horror movie this week. Actually, I guess I should mention the non-horror movie that I watched this week besides Cliffhanger. I checked out Blonde, speaking of movies that Eric hated. I'm going to be on the far end of the branch on this one, because the overwhelming majority of people loathed this movie. I liked it. I enjoyed Blonde. Does 20-30 minutes need to be shaved off the damn thing? Absolutely. Are there things about it that frustrate me, like digging into the JFK shit? Yeah. But being that one of my favorite movies of all time is the outlaw or the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. I mean, Jesse James was a lump of fucking shit. He was a terrible human being, and he's presented in that movie like he's Jesus. So I don't think that anyone should go to Andrew Dominik movies looking for like history lessons. And I thought that Blonde weirdly wisely took one of the most exploited women in Hollywood and made her a stand-in for like all exploited women in Hollywood. And I thought it was brilliant, man. Like, I understand everybody who hated it. I get the hate, but I really liked it.
Yeah, my meme was a joke. I still haven't seen it yet.
I thought you were a monster, because I had in our text message thread, we always sent pictures of ourselves when we're like on an emotional wreck, like crying from a movie. So I sent Eric and Mike a picture of myself like teared up and said like 21 minutes in, and what happens like 21 minutes in that movie, I find like like anybody would be moved by it. Eric sent a picture of himself pretending to be asleep with a bunch of Z's. It's 21 minutes into a blot. I'm like, you fucking monster, dude. I'm glad it's a joke.
I gotta be in. I haven't been in the mood for it, and I want to go in appropriately.
Yeah, it's very much a Sunday morning kind of watch. Yeah. I checked out Hocus Pocus 2. How could I not check out Hocus Pocus 2, which I think it's really hard to make a sequel to any movie decades later and have it be remotely watchable or interesting. I didn't hate it, man. I mean, the original is, you got to take that with a grain of salt too. But I thought for a 28-year-old, 29-year-old sequel, I thought it was okay. Certainly worth seeing.
Cool.
What else did I watch? Okay. I'm not crazy about admitting this because in the space of 2-3 years in Hollywood, they released 4 movies with the name Escape Room. I watched the one that's famous, the most famous one from 2019.
Oh boy.
This was directed by the guy that did the Taking of Deborah Logan, which if you guys haven't seen it is a fucking great exorcism movie. It's just fantastic. And this wasn't bad either. I mean, it was Cube. It was, it was Squid Game. It was very much, it had been done before, but it was done well for the most part. There's some real clunky parts to it. I didn't love it, but it certainly had its moments. I got about 20 minutes left of this movie called X that everybody has been talking quite a bit about. I didn't quite finish it, but I do marvel at Ty West's ability to make a 40-minute movie into 2 hours over and over again. I think that there's some really good ones that he did, like Innkeepers, and I'm liking X, but I do wish that everyone who liked it hadn't. I mean, I'm so guilty of this. I always overtalk movies and like oversell movies. Like, this is a life-changing event. You need to see this movie. So, but I think that X may have been a little overhyped. I wish I'd been more prepared for people in rubbery old person suits. Like, that just never never works for me. I've never seen a young person portraying an old person and been convinced in any movie ever. So that kind of takes me out of it.
Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire is the exception, but we're supposed to know that she's in, or he's in the whole Get Up, right? So I can accept that. But I did think of that movie more than once watching X.
Run by fruiting.
The drive-by fruiting. We were me and Eric were supposed to be on a podcast together, the All American Spook Show podcast. But how you feeling? You feeling better?
Yeah,
you were not well.
My emotional collapse. I'm fine now.
But
I had mine in June, so I get it.
I had mine this afternoon. I had car issues. Being really broke and having your car break down like at the same time was a really humbling experience.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. That's actually how I ended up selling my car.
Yeah, kind of forces that on a person, doesn't it? But for that podcast, All American Spook Show, those guys are so gracious and kind. We're going to have them on here. They're a lot of fun. Everybody should definitely check them out. You can check out the episode I did with them where we covered Tales from the Crypt Demon Night if you want to. All I did was just sit there and gush about Demon Night and Billy Zane the whole time because I fucking love Demon Night. It's such a classic for me. And then to wrap things up here, my number one movie that I watched this week really surprised me because it's about a guy speaking to an obscure god through a glory hole. Glorious. Okay. You know exactly what I was talking about. Glorious. Yes, it lives up to the name. I put it on very late at night and I'm like, this is going to be dumb, whatever. I won't need to pay attention to it. And I fucking love when I put a movie on when I'm in no mood to really pay attention to it. I'm like, I'll just kind of have this on in the background while I'm playing a game or like doing other things. Maybe I'll turn it off. And I just can't stop watching. Like, I just get completely locked in. The phone gets forgotten about. I'm just like locked in. Ryan Quanten and J.K. Simmons. This movie is so weird and unique and funny and stupid and wild. I really, really liked Glorious, but it's definitely not for everyone, not for the faint of heart.
It's literally a glory hole?
I'm not kidding. Brennan, you saw it?
I did. Yeah, J.K. Simmons is a mini god on the other side of the glory hole.
That's all the premise you need. It's it's wild, man. And talk about I also am a sucker for one location movies, and this is that, and I love that.
See, I'm the opposite. I don't like single location movies. I
Oh.
get weirdly claustrophobic and bored. Whenever I'm watching a direct-to-video action movie and they're running around a parking garage, I'm like,
Mhm.
shit, they're not going anywhere else, are they? Okay. All right.
You know, I feel that way when it comes to single shot movies like 1917. Like I just like
Oh.
I get so like wound up. I'm like, I need a break. I need a
Yeah.
break.
I remember, you ever see ATM, that horror movie where she's stuck in that ATM
I haven't,
vestibule?
no.
That was solid, dude.
Really? I should watch that.
Give it a shot. Maybe it'll turn you, because it was very effective. But yeah, it might get on your claustrophobic side because that's fucked.
Yeah.
Okay, Travis, that's pretty good.
Thanks.
I
I
got
watch
burned.
movies well.
I got burned this week pretty bad. I don't even know if I have any high recommendations. So
Oh no.
I do have some things I want to talk about. So I finally finished all 6 seasons of Leave It to Beaver. I went back, I watched all of them. So I watched the 1983 made-for-TV movie Still the Beaver,
Oof.
and I was laughing my ass off. And like, I don't know, I've been trying to like write for like Screenwriter or somebody, so I might pen this article. Like, this is the original like requel. You know, we have these requel nowadays where like the original cast comes back, but now like they're training the younger generation, and like the same thing happens. Like you got the same thing they have nowadays where like your classic characters are like completely like losers now, and like their lives are in shambles, like i.e. Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Laurie Strode, Ray Stantz. It's like the same thing's going on. Beaver's out of a job, his wife kicked him out of the house, his kids hate him, like Wally's impotent, like, and then like he has to return back to Mayberry and like get his life together. It's like the same thing you see nowadays in these requels. Really bad. Can't recommend it.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, I don't see anyone rushing to YouTube to find this shitty version some guy recorded off his VHS machine. This one's gonna sting, but I have to be honest with the audience.
Oh boy.
Like, I remember as a kid, like talking about this, and I've spent my whole life like enjoying that I was like a fan because it's so cool. Tron, the original from 1982. When's the last time you saw it?
When I was like 2.
It's bad.
Does it count if I napped in between?
Well, so
I
did
did a lot of napping when I rewatched Tron.
Wow.
Dude, it's not good. Like it's kind of embarrassing to sit through. It's just very cringe. Like, I always admire innovation, people trying new things, but it's like it's hard to sit through.
When you go to watch like visual feasts from 40 years ago and stuff,
Yeah.
like if they're really hinged on that kind of aspect, it's hard to be impressed by.
Yeah. I mean, you look at something like Logan's Run, and it really doesn't matter how cheap everything looks because the story's so good.
The story's great. Right?
It's a complete opposite with this. It sucks, man. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I've never seen this before.
Oh, man.
Never. I've always heard about it. I've never sat down and watched this fucking thing. Like, what is this? How is this a movie? Like spirit Halloween masks.
Dude,
and like
it scared the fucking
plot.
piss out of me when I was a kid. Like, I was
Scared you?
terrified of this movie. I was like 6. I grew up with it.
I don't know, Brendan.
I saw that one for the first time like a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago.
Did you?
And I did, yeah. I same thing. I'd always heard of it, never watched it. It was a thing where I like, fuck, I'll put it on before I fall asleep. Stayed up for the whole thing, and I just thought this is crazy enough that I love it.
Yeah. It's not supposed to be good, right? I mean,
no. Well, also, I always thought like it was like, I knew it wasn't trauma, but I thought it was like hard and like really fucked up. It's like PG-13 and very neutered and like not that creepy. Like the masks are kind of cool because they move and the clowns look interesting, but it's just bad.
that's fun. Man.
Have
fun.
Getting changed. Damn it. Lost my train of thought here. I think that might be it, unless something pops.
Anything good?
Yeah, but
you watch any good movies?
No, it's been kind of a. I did watch Demon Knight because we were going to do it for the show. And this is a movie I used to watch like every day. My older brother Marty would bring it home from the Meyer video store every single night, and we would watch it. But it's been since like 1995. I wasn't feeling it.
Oh, man, come
feeling
on.
it, dude.
Really?
Look, Billy Zane is a beautiful man, okay?
He's
funny, but like aside from that, like I'm like, this is like where's the like the originality and like the cleverness from the show that I loved on HBO? It's just like a standard like Night of the Living Dead rehash with decent effects. I wasn't feeling it, man. I'm sorry.
I'm glad you didn't come on the show then.
Yeah. Okay. Can't defend it, but that's it, man.
All right.
What about you, Brennan?
You been watching any movies?
Yeah. Sorry, my audio for some reason keeps dropping out. So if I respond to something you say, assume it's because I didn't hear it. But
You dropped out yourself there.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I might have to drop out for a sec, move something around. I'm pretty sure my laptop is dying, which is awesome. Because paying 2 rents is not expensive enough. But anyways, so yeah, recently tonight I watched Hex, which is a Chinese horror movie from 1980. It's a Shaw Brothers production, and it's fun. It's not the movie. The cover looks very metal. The cover looks very like Hellraiser, like Chinese Hellraiser. Yeah, it's not that. It's almost got like kind of an Agatha Christie kind of ending, but it's fun. It's definitely if you're bored, you got 90 minutes to kill, and you can kind of do that like Shaw Brothers style. That's sort of like not quite. It's not camp, but it's like a little bit more broad. Yeah, so watch that. Last night I watched House of Darkness, the new Neil LaBute movie, which is
shit.
How was it?
Yeah. It's fine. I mean, it's fine. It's very. I mean, it's Neil LaBute. It's ultra low budget, very talky.
Is it LaBeauty?
It's LaBeauty. Yeah. Not prime LaBeauty. Like it's not like was it Lakeview Terrace or in the Company of Men or whatever.
How many misogynists are in this movie? All of them. All of them.
Justin Long represents all of them.
Okay.
Yeah. He's like the platonic ideal of the misogynist.
Okay, good. There's only
and where it's like I knew nothing about it going in. I try not to watch horror movie trailers anymore because I find they give a lot of the good shit away.
Yeah.
But as soon as I saw that, the film opens with him driving a beautiful Kate Bosworth to a remote mansion that she lives in, and her name is Mina. Okay, so they're vampires.
Yeah,
and vampires. So it's fine. It's fine. I wouldn't say watch it unless you're a Neil LaBute completist. Or really you want to watch the Justin Long douchebag resurgence because he's also in Barbarian, which I saw recently. I won't say anything, but it's good. He plays a great douchebag. Yeah, I did.
You're right there, Tiger.
And then he also no, I wouldn't think of ruining anything for you. Barbarian is so much fun. I did a double feature with that and Pearl the other night, which of course is a prequel to X.
Right.
And I really liked it. I liked X. I didn't love it. I didn't realize there was all these people who kind of started getting hard for it like that. I mean, it's good. It's a good slasher movie. It's not, the best slasher movie.
I think also that the fact that Pearl, this prequel, comes out the same fucking year, it kind of gave me the impression that it must be great if it's already churning out a sequel in the same year. People are clamoring for more of this character. People were talking about give Mia Goth a Academy Award. I'm like, oh, this must be amazing.
I mean, they shot them at the same time, I think is why it's happened.
Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Because they shot it down in New Zealand during quarantine. And so I think A24 just, Ty West said, carve me off an extra, whatever. And I think it was I think Pearl's budget is like $1 million. So, it's a relatively inexpensive film. And so they just shot them both at the same time.
Got a trilogy capper coming out later this year too.
Yeah. Maxine. And no, Pearl's good. I dug it. I mean, I've heard some people call it Joker for girls, and I don't know if that's necessarily accurate, but if you have a hard time, like sometimes I have a hard time with cringe between people in movies, it's a lot of that. So,
great.
Yeah. But there's some gnarly shit in there too. It's a horror movie first and foremost. So weird shit happens. And Mia Goth, she is great. And it's got this Technicolor Wizard of Oz thing going for it. So it's a trip. I think watching that and Barbarian the same night, probably not wise. Had a hell of an anxiety attack on the walk home, but
why?
I can't imagine. No, I could tell you, but then Eric will kill me because that's Table Barbarian.
No, fair enough.
Watch Still the Beaver when you get home and cleanse your palate.
Still the Beaver. Oh my God.
Still the Beaver reminds me. Do you guys remember that terrible Riverdale adult Archie TV movie they made?
Yeah.
Seems like the same thing. Like Moose is a chiropractor and Archie's life is all shit. Yeah.
I'll say it again. Well, Wally is impotent. That's his whole plot. That's
So that wasn't even a joke.
whole story. No, that's his story during the movie. He's impotent.
Made for TV.
Oh boy. All
Talk
right.
about Wally's dick on TV.
Wally's dick.
All right. Moving on from Wally's dick. The only other movie I got on my list is 3,000 Years of Longing.
How
Oh,
was that?
The first 2/3 were legitimately brilliant. I thought I was thinking like 5 stars, one of the best things I've seen this year.
wow.
The final third really fumbles. Like basically once the Jinn finishes telling his story and the present day story starts moving forward, it really starts to stumble. And I don't know if that's because it's like the George R.R. Martin effect, where like I know it's based on a short story, and I don't know how much of the short story, like where that fits into the film. So I don't know if it's maybe like the short story is the good stuff and everything else kind of, it's not terrible. It just feels rushed. Yeah. I won't ruin anything, but there, like characters kind of evolve and you think, well, that was fast.
A little rushed. Yeah. All right.
Real quick, I forgot. I was blown away by Host, Rob Savage's horror movie, his quarantine horror movie.
Fuck yeah, man.
So I could
Love
not
Host.
wait for his follow-up Dash Cam. It's not good. It's
Oh,
not
shit.
good.
That
It's
is a
straight
hard
up
movie to
bad.
like.
Yeah, it's bad.
Oh, that's too bad. Host was great.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. I started watching Dashcam with my wife, and she got up, I don't know, 5 minutes in and said, basically, fuck this, I'm going to bed. She hated the leads so much,
That's
which
the
is
thing.
fair. I didn't like her either.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got to at least tolerate your lead. You don't have to like them, agree with them, but they got to be tolerable.
That's it. If you actively hate them, I just think, well, why are we watching this, guys?
Right. All right. Well, those are our quarantine viewing picks. Thank you, everyone. We're going to progress on the second half of the show now, where we'll actually get into the nitty gritty of Cliffhanger. Sylvester Stallone and Rennie Harlin's Cliffhanger. This was Brennan's choice. Brennan, do you remember the first time you watched this movie?
I don't. I think it was, I mean, chances are I saw it when I was a kid, on VHS, because my family would put shit on that I should not watch. I remember watching The Shining when I was like 10.
Yeah.
But no, I think I properly saw it for the first time in high school. Me and my buddies would rent a bunch of movies because my uncle managed the video store. And so we'd just go down to my basement and, watch whatever. And I must have seen it down there.
Right on. Eric, what about you?
Oh, dude, when this came out, I remember my dad busted into my room and was like, get in the car right now. We're going to the movie theater.
Sly's got a new one. Get in the car.
Yep. Loved it. Rented it 5 billion times. Wore the VHS out when I bought it. Yeah. I've seen this. Incredible.
All right. So you grew up loving this movie. Basically.
Yes. Yes.
Right. I remember seeing this one in theaters. This is I don't often remember the theater experiences of my life, usually, to be honest, especially going back to 1993. I would have been 12 or 13. But my parents, my mom especially, used to take me to the movies a lot. And if there was like a big movie, and this one stuck out in my memory because of that opening. I remember this being on the literal edge of my seat with the opening of this movie. And so that theatrical experience really kind of sticks out in my memory. What do we any guesses on what the IMDb score is?
Oh, people are stupid.
And it's like it's not a super intelligent action movie either. I mean, it's a little bozo, not in a bad way.
Appreciate good trash like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at the score right now, Travis.
Solid.
Oh, you're cutting out, Brandon.
Losing you.
Yeah, your audio just dropped out for.
You just compared it to Saw. Travis, what do you think the score?
Sure. Yeah, no.
All right,
you go ahead.
okay?
I'll be right back.
Yeah, why don't you jump out and come back?
We'll chat.
All right, we'll chat it up. Oh, look, he's even got like a little. He's got his own little face up there. For those who are watching and not listening, that's what Brennan's headshot looks like.
It's great.
Very, 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 very dashing, very, very leading man. I'm gonna guess that. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. We gotten a lot of comments here from Rip and Tara, asking whether or not
Rip and Tara.
let's see. They've been watching some stuff too. They watched Coherence, great movie. They watched Leslie Nielsen's Bad Golf Made Easier. All right.
Okay.
They're a fan of Demon Knight. Thank you, Rip and Tara. And let's see. Parking garage, warehouse, and forest are the classic signs of a garbage movie. That's probably true.
I like P2.
Yeah, I'm sorry. These are all kind of
P2 is
showing up
good.
at once, Rip and Terry.
P2 solid.
Logan's Run in need of a remake. I would watch that.
Absolutely.
And then they say lies to something that we said, but I don't know what it was.
We apologize.
I got
we'll fact check.
The P2 thing reminds me just quickly. It's kind of a funny story. Obviously, Wes Bentley plays the villain in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was in LA a few years ago, and I was just wandering around. I wandered into a froyo place at like 2 a.m, and I started shooting the shit with a guy behind the counter. And he was a kid from, I want to say, Denmark or Sweden, one of the two. And he'd been in a movie with Wes Bentley back in his home country. And Wes had basically been like, "Oh man, you should come out. You know, you'll love it out in Hollywood." And then so he came out, the poor dumb idiot. And then just, of course, Wes, he was like invisible to Wes Bentley, and so he's just been scraping by trying to find bit parts. But because he's from a Scandinavian country, they all want him to talk like this, and he just refused. So every now and again, I check his IMDb to see how well things are going, and it's slowly improving for him. But whenever I think of Wes Bentley, I think, "You son of a bitch, you left that kid there."
I was really hoping you were going to say that you walked into a frozen yogurt shop and Wes Bentley served you frozen yogurt. Going on hard times.
I don't think he's quite there yet. I mean, there was a period where he was using. I think it got close.
Okay.
I'm very much going to one of those like AI generate art things, and I'm going to ask them to make Wes Bentley serving me ice cream. All right. So my guess for the IMDb score for Cliffhanger, I'm going to say it's high, but like middling high. I don't think it quite makes it into 7 territory. I'm going to say 6.9.
Okay, Brennan.
I'm going to say 5.5.
Ooh.
Dang, it was really undershooting it. Yeah, 6.5. 6.5.
Right.
That's it? 6.5? All right. So right between
Sorry,
us.
didn't hold up. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Ripper is saying that they're a fan of Demon Knight, so
yeah,
I'm getting more backup on Demon Knight. I appreciate that. 6.5 is, I think that's it sounds about right to me.
It sounds about right. Now, the interesting part here is when we go over Rotten Tomatoes, and we've got Thermometer fresh tomato, 67% from the critics. They enjoyed themselves, whereas sadly, the bucket of popcorn is tipped over at 52% from audiences.
Wow,
which baffles me. Like, how do you not walk out of the theater thrilled in 1993?
But again, IMDb didn't exist when this movie came out. So a lot of people that have been watching this movie that ranked it on IMDb did not watch it in a movie theater.
Yeah, same thing with Rotten Tomatoes. That's gonna be a lot of people who watch it and go, "Well, this doesn't make sense," and they push their fucking glasses up their nose. I don't know.
Well, let's take a look at some critics' reviews here.
Yeah,
and
tell us what the critics have to say.
See if some of our old friends in the top critics section had to say about this, because action movies in the early 90s, kind of a strange time. I mean, can we rattle off anything post Die Hard that really struck a chord with audiences that wasn't straight action sci-fi or action comedy, but just straight action?
That's a good point. I'm trying to think. Aside from, Die Hard 2, but
Speed,
Speed was 94 though. That was a little bit later.
Yeah, yep.
Wait, a year after this. I'm
blanking. Everything I'm thinking of, like there's
a little bit later.
Yeah, I'm thinking T2, but that's science fiction pretty much.
Yeah,
like great action comedies like Shane Black stuff, but like just straight action that was kind of waning in the early 90s. Hard Target, I guess.
The River Wild, what was that, like 89? I don't know.
I think that was 93.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah.
White Squall. I don't know. There wasn't much. I'm on boat movies.
I think White Squall was 96.
I'm getting late. Okay.
Gene Siskel, may he rest in peace, gives it a splat. He says, take away the mountains, and what you have is a howlingly bad action film with a cornball villain out to steal a massive amount of United States currency from federal agents. So he's not liking it. 1 out of 4.
Ouch.
Rough.
Yeah, that is pretty tricky.
I do have thoughts on the villain. I'm looking forward to talking about that.
His buddy Roger Ebert, may he also rest in power. Cliffhanger is a device to entertain us, and it works, especially during those moments when Stallone is hanging by his fingernails over a 3-mile fall and the bad guys are stomping on him. The tomato is fresh. Loved it.
Did he say that? The tomato is fresh?
No, I'm looking at a fresh tomato next to his name. And you asked for it, you got it. Desson Thompson of the Washington Post chimed in on January 1st, 2000 of all times, man.
All right.
Just pull the rug on your judgment, good sense, and values. Remember to leave enough motor skills to face forward. That's where the screen is.
All right.
So he thinks it's cerebral.
Yeah, thinking man's action movie.
Real brain bender.
So there you go, man. It's kind of mixed.
More mixed than I would have thought.
It's something like 280 world.
It was a hit.
You're in and out again, bud.
70 million budget pulls in almost 300 million. So this made a lot of money.
Enough that they talked about a sequel. Didn't happen, but they talked about it.
The Dam.
The Dam.
You read this? The Dam.
Yeah, I did.
Let's take all of this and just make it the Hoover Dam. See if we can squeeze 2 hours out of that. I don't know. I like Daylight. Could do worse.
Daylight was probably more of a spiritual sequel. I guess I think we should start with that classic beginning, because if anybody thinks of anything about this movie, that opening scene was parodied and other stuff. We don't always start with the beginning with the movie, but this is like the beginning is really, the bulk of this movie.
Yeah, Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, I think most famously parodied that opening. But what struck me, and I just saw this last year, I was touting it big time on the show, so I was happy to take another look. But what struck me was the sound design. Like when they get those inserts of all like the ropes loosening up, that just, man, that drove me nuts. It was so tense.
You know what drove me nuts is like the woman wouldn't reach up. I'm like, fucking reach up. I'm yelling at my TV. Reach up. I mean, I hate heights. I'd have a hard time with it, but if you're that high up, like you got to be at least okay enough that you can reach up.
Well, I mean, can we talk about the fact Michael Rooker apparently has a bad knee, but he still tried to and hair, but he's got like a bum knee, and he still took someone who apparently does not know how to climb on a direct path to try and challenge God.
He's way more at fault here than Gabe.
1,000 times.
Really?
I love that he gets that look. He's like, "This is your fault." No, you dumb motherfucker. This is your fault. Like, oh, this is no big deal. Yeah, we just had to bring a helicopter and like 5 people up here to endanger their lives to save your dumb ass.
Everyone's so conversational.
They're acting like all she has to do is crawl backwards on this wire like 100 yards. Like, that's it. I would never do that. I would freeze and have a heart attack and die if someone told me that's the only way to get off this mountain.
I almost had a heart attack watching the fucking movie. Never mind trying to do it myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate heights, which apparently so does Sylvester Stallone. So he had like 95% of the shots were done by stunt people.
Yeah.
So I find it fascinating that he would co-write a script where he's hanging from rocks all the time, but he made it work.
And the guy who did a lot of his stunt climbing, Wolfgang Gulick, he died shortly after shooting in a car accident, of all things.
Of all things. That's wild. I mean, I guess there's a lesson in there somewhere. I don't know what it is.
But yeah, I mean, the picture opens up with 2 incredible things that you just don't see in action movies nowadays. A beautiful scope, an epic scope with real locations, and a gorgeous score for a stupid action movie by Trevor Jones.
Yeah, there's some similarities between that and last The Mohicans, I'd say. But I mean, it is a beautiful sweeping score. I love that the movie's called Cliffhanger, and to drive the point home, there's a guy hanging from a cliff above the title card, which is subtle.
This is back when movies gave you what you paid for, goddammit.
How will they know what movie they're in if there isn't a guy directly hanging off a cliff?
Joel Silver's just grabbing Rennie Harlan. Look, you mother! I want a goddamn someone. I want hanging off a cliff right now.
Get him up there.
Yeah, exactly. Before I'm going to look down at my mirror, and by the time I look back up, doing this,
slide
man
better be
hanging
there
from the cliff. Yeah, exactly.
Shit, man.
It is nice that there are. I mean, it's such a mix in terms. I guess that's going to be a word we're using a lot, but it's such a mix in terms of scenery, because there is so much gorgeous footage of very real Italian mountains, like beautiful vistas and all this stuff, and then there'll be like this plastic ass set. They'll suddenly just be like, oh man, all of a sudden, like, where'd you guys, you turned a corner and all of a sudden you're like in a G.I. Joe base.
The cave looks like a middle school play production of The Hobbit.
Yeah. Or like when Gabe has his confrontation with Travers, not Travis, as John Lithgow keeps saying, Travers, played by Rex Lynn, who has there ever been a more G-man looking motherfucker in your life, in his life? I mean, he's so perfect for the role. But like when they have their confrontation, I'm like, man, this is like, it looks like a big plastic. But on the other hand, there's a lot that looks fantastic and is gorgeous and really well shot.
Yeah, most notably, I was struck by the gorgeous matte paintings. Like every time they're showing Sly like on a mountain from far away, like that held up so well. You expect to see just a fucking obvious matte painting, matte lines, and everything, and it was composited beautifully for '93.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job with that. Is this? I mean, what other movies has Rennie Harlan did? He did Die Hard 2, right? He did
Cutthroat Island,
Famous Bomb, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he's got his money. Deep Blue Sea. He's got his fun director. Silly.
This is probably the most serious thing that he did, I would guess, right? Or one of.
Saying a lot when you got Stallone making like fucking stalactite jokes, whatever the fuck he says.
Dude, that is the best kill in the movie by far. Pushing up Leon up onto a stalactite.
Straight Jason Voorhees kills. And Leon, dude, coming up cool runnings. He's a straight badass, dude. We were wondering where Leon was when I was talking about cool runnings, and he's got range.
For sure. So you said, Brennan, that you have thoughts on John Lithgow. What are your thoughts on John Lithgow?
All right, we'll go until my connection fucks up again, and then I might have to dip out and come back.
Yeah, but, we'll make it work.
Quaylen is by far the stupidest villain I've seen in recent memory. Now,
okay.
So Christopher Walken was supposed to play the role originally, and he dropped out. I assume because he didn't want to spend a bunch of time on a fucking mountain. Yeah, and it's cold up there. No, he's
let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my understudy. But Christopher Walken would have had the self-awareness to understand how stupid Quaylen is, because I used to believe anyone who's this successful an international terrorist just murders his associates so simply. like why work for him? There's no upside. Like the second you do anything out of the I'm just going to shoot you and throw you out of my plane. Oh, okay, good. So there's lots of loyalty here. I'm really thrilled to be part of this organization.
Yeah, but they address it, man. Even Travers says like he doesn't trust him, so he's going to go to the airplane before he sends the money because he's read his dossier. He probably knows he's a psychopath.
But that's what I mean. Like, even I've met psychopaths. They're not this stupid. They at least have some like delayed gratification ability. But Quaylen's just like, no, I'm gonna shoot my girlfriend. Now I'm the only one who can operate the helicopter. Okay, that seems extreme. So, and like when they send Gabe up to get the money, and they're like, take his coat and don't give him any of his climbing gear.
What the fuck,
guys?
How is that's going to improve his skillmanship here?
And then like loudly, we're sure going to kill the shit out of him when he comes back. Oh boy, I hope he comes back.
No, you have to do it in this British accent. I mean, I can't even do it.
Oh, hold on. No, you have no accent unless you're saying "bastard." Then you bring it back for that one word. But I like Quaylen's a lot of fun. Like, I'm sorry to cut you off, but like,
no, it's fine.
Lithgow has this incredible ability to go from like intensely vulnerable and sweet to downright like passively menacing. Like, and he's one of the few villains like from this type of action movie that's just an asshole, cold-blooded menace. He's not like charming. He's not like cool. He's just a fucking dick out to get what he wants, which is kind of refreshing.
I've said it before on the show.
It would be even better if he was better at his job.
Yeah, no wonder he just keeps on losing all of his money. I've said it before. I'm a big fan of Daddy's Home 2. If you want to see a classic Lithgow being a big softie, he is incredibly good at being like this gooey, or third planet from the sun, rather.
Mm-hmm.
He's so good at being this gentle kind of goofball. but when he wants to be villainous, I mean, nothing to me beats Trinity on on
Dexter.
on Dexter. Yeah, he was amazing on Dexter. But
Amazing.
has he ever done anything in between? I wonder. I can't think of it. Just like,
he-
hey, I'm a guy.
Played a serial killer in Ricochet.
Yeah,
Right. Oh,
exactly.
Oh, that's so stupid. Well, dude, I'll tear up just thinking about the scene when he slaps Harry and tells him to go back into the woods. So
Yeah,
powerful.
okay. He's a normal guy in that, and I guess he's a normal guy in This Is 40. He's a normal
Can't
guy.
you see we don't want you here? Leave us alone.
Leave! Now do it with a British accent.
You
A
busted.
wavering, a wavering British accent.
But yeah, man. Yeah, kind of a silly plot, but hey, you got to get the action going here. Come on now.
Yeah, yeah. What about the big man himself? Let's talk Sly. How we
Dang.
feel about his performance?
He's coming off some flops. Oscar,
Ooh.
Stop or Mamamoo Shoot. So this was right on time. And he's got Demolition Man this same year. So yeah, all eyes were on Sly in '93, and I was happy about it.
Yeah, that was. I mean, talk about needing a hit desperately.
Yeah.
So that was a good year for him.
Have you seen Stop or My Mum Will Shoot recently? It's traumatizing.
No.
not since I was a kid. I've been watching a lot of Estelle Getty because I'm a big Golden Girls fan.
Really?
So I've been
Getty
thinking
Fest?
about revisiting it. I love Golden Girls. I watch like an episode almost every single night.
Hilarious.
So does my mother, apparently. Go fucking figure. Yeah, I think he's a lot of fun in this, man. I think that I mean, all right, I'm gonna say when he kicks Quaylen off the fucking helicopter, which that climax is pretty great, and he has whatever the pun is, like keep your hands inside that. I'm like, what are you doing right now? No one would do this. Not even Arnold would do this. You are literally like hanging on for dear life here. Don't pause for a fucking pun.
Sure.
But throughout the rest of the movie, his puns are pretty good. They're fitting. I think the character is actually somewhat believable. I really, really, really like the setup in particular between the characters of Gabe and Hal
Tucker.
Tucker,
Mm.
the character played by Michael Rooker, because yes, Rooker's character Tucker is completely guilty. He's way more guilty in this situation with his girlfriend dying than Gabe, but I love the dynamic between the two, that they were best friends. They've had this tremendous falling out because Tucker blames Gabe for his girlfriend's death, which not entirely without reason. I mean, he was yelling to him not to get on the line with her. So I mean, I could kind of see where he's coming from. I'm not crazy about the moment when Hal is about to throw Gabe off the cliff, because like there's just no suspense there. You're like, you're not going to kill the protagonist 20 minutes into the fucking movie. There's no drama to that. It just seems like an overreaction. But I really, really like that once they're in the situation where they've been caught up with these international criminals and they're kind of like in it together, where Hal says to Gabe, he's like, if you can get away, run. He's like, would you? And through the rest of the movie, he's trying to like get this person back who, like, in a lot of ways, it's kind of like fuck you, and it'd be easy in a way for him to kind of leave him hanging, but instead he puts himself over and over again, and it's not and never once do I get the feeling like Hal does at the beginning of the movie that he's trying to redeem himself and trying to like do that. I think he's just like doing his job and doing what he needs to do, and I actually find it pretty convincing for a movie that's so muscled and ripply and full of like puns.
You bring up a lot of great points there. And I love Sly in the film. Like, I mean, he's always been really good at, when he's asked to be soulful and tender. He's a fantastic actor. But I like the decision in here to make him just a guy that like is good at his job. It'd be so easy to also have him be like a former Delta op guy and like have all these fucking big fight scenes, but they don't do that. Even with the fight with Leon, like he's getting his ass kicked. And I kind of dug that, even for an egomaniac like Sly to let that slide. But yeah, he's just a resourceful guy trying to do the right thing. So yeah, I like the writing of the character.
I do have to admire that shithouse.
What?
Shithouse?
Oh no. Okay. Fine. Jokes don't work if your microphone don't work. This is
this is yeah.
Never have a problem before this. I record literally a 4-hour live stream to do my podcast every 2 weeks. Never had a problem. But go figure.
We can bear with you, man. So
Welcome to the Sit Behind podcast.
My first 100 episodes, you could not hear me.
This is true.
I was saying with Sly, like even when he's playing an everyman, he's still built like a brick shit house. Like it's his ego will not let him be. He'll like even when he was fat in Copland, he's like, come on.
He's huge, big bear.
This is fat. Okay.
So yeah, you guys getting some Dark Knight Rises vibes on that incredible fucking midair airplane heist. Fucking awesome.
Yeah, the most expensive stunt at the time ever, apparently. The dude making his way across that line, which I didn't really think that much about at the time. I mean, I'm impressed by it, but like I've seen it so many times since. But I was actually really impressed with the pilots of the two planes flying so close to one another. I'm like, that seems really hard. Not that I can fly a plane at all, but that whole sequence is great.
We're kind of desensitized to the classic old school stunts nowadays. So to imagine that this guy's actually on this wire in between these two planes is so fucking awesome. And yeah, they had to take out like $1 million insurance policy for this guy. Like if he dies, we're fucked. Yeah, this is an awesome scene though. Great setup.
Yeah. You know what I really, really liked about that scene? Because I had forgotten that the character Travers was the one that was the bad guy. So like, but as you're watching the scene, one of these guys has flipped. At least one of these guys has flipped. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching the movie and it's like, it's Rex Lynn, I think his name is, and there's Bruce McGill, which I mean, it's fucking Bruce McGill. And then there's right, and then there's our guy that ends up kind of like being the heroic one, and then there's some motherfucker who doesn't say anything, who looks just like Joe Manchin, who just kind of dies. But like you're watching the movie, and it's like, well, obviously Bruce McGill is going to be like an important figure here, sure. And it's so like a Janet Leigh moment, like it's Bruce McGill's big Janet Leigh moment, because you may not know his name, but that mustache face, right? Like you're like, there he is. Right. And then so for him to not even have a line, I don't think, and then to just get killed, you're like, shit, this isn't what I was expecting. And then it turns out that there's other guys like being like the superhero, and like there's so many Uzis in this movie, but he's like got this super effective fucking Uzi that he can shoot from one plane to another. This guy is like the most incredible Uzi-man in history of Uzi-men.
And remember in the beginning, I was thrown off too, because he looks like he's straight out of Central Casting as like a Russian agent pretending to be American. And they even say, "Hey, can this my friend get a ride on the plane?" And you're like, "Oh, of course he managed to secure a seat on this plane, and he's the terrorist now." But no, he just kicks everybody's ass, and it's a fucking great scene.
Yeah, he ends up being like the fucking X Factor that throws the whole thing into play because he's indomitable, which I really, really liked that. I thought that was really cool.
Cool. And going back to the opening, dude, leave it to the fucking 90s. I love the 90s. You always have this opening scene where like the lead character has like the traumatic thing that's gonna haunt him for the rest of the movie, like that he's gonna have to pay for. This is in every single action movie in the 90s.
Brennan, buddy, you still with us? I think I just heard you laugh.
Oh yeah, I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm turning off the video and hoping that helps whatever the fuck is going on.
Oh, okay.
We can hear you loud and clear, man. Sounds great.
Now we can.
Well, let's say we shall see how long it lasts. Anyways, moving on. Back to the amazing aerial stunt that I love. They had to film, which you may have covered already, in America because no one in Europe was going to insure that.
Didn't know that. That's funny.
Yeah, they filmed everything else, of course, in Italy, but no, they had to go to America for that because even the Italians were like, no, there's not enough graft in the world to make this okay.
I also love that Sly broke his hand on a soundstage and told everyone he broke it on a mountain. So everyone thought that he broke his hand mountain climbing. Oh, he's filming Cliffhanger and he broke his hand, surely.
Punch in the mountain.
Yeah. You should have seen the other guy. I gotta say, Stallone. That's a guy who I've talked to one person who's met him in real life, and he was such a dick.
No,
he was. I knew someone who worked at the Pan Pacific Hotel in Vancouver, and supposedly if you're dealing with Sylvester Stallone, at least in this particular situation, you are not allowed to turn your back on him. Like no one turns their back on Sly.
Like a monarch.
Yeah. Wow. So like if you're doing whatever, you have to back away from him like he's a dangerous bear that you're worried might turn at any moment. And yeah, absurd. I mean, I've heard he's good to work with, if he respects you. But if you're just if you're like, what's his name? The George Cosmatos from Cobra, you are his bitch.
You're gonna steal his movie and direct it yourself.
Yeah. Like, the story about Tombstone, right? Stallone recommended Cosmatos because he said he's easy to push around.
Yep. And Kurt Russell pushed him around, took the movie over.
Yes.
Well, and Sly has been having this like slow motion Instagram meltdown for some time now, which is just it's so embarrassing.
I hadn't heard about this.
He's like calling Irvin Winkler like a vampire Nazi from hell, and then he's the worst piece of shit Hollywood's ever seen. Just some really unprofessional.
Yeah,
weird bullshit.
Going after a guy in his 90s because you, Sly, made a bad deal with your property over and over. You're telling me in like fucking 50 years of these Rocky movies, there wasn't an opportunity to start a new deal and get the rights? Like now, all of a sudden, you're gonna like. I mean, I think he's also going through a divorce or something, which was probably triggering a lot of that. But it's always it's just really hard to watch boomers have social media.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen this? I think I sent you the link, Travis, these like live in-person thing he's doing in Hollywood in December.
No, you didn't. Oh, did you? I can't remember.
He's doing this like live in-person event.
Oh, you did. Yeah.
Tickets start at £400.
400 pounds. And the audience all have to walk out of the theater with their back not facing him. Fuck. That's going to be hard to navigate.
It's going to be a reverse trampoline.
It's like the silence in Doctor Who. You got afraid to turn away first. You're going to forget. No, apparently, because he's going through the divorce. So he's just announced selling these die-cast figurines of Cobra. They're like 12-inch figures. Ooh, I want to say they're about $400. You order them now, they deliver them next summer.
Okay.
Yeah, real good turnaround there.
Yeah, okay.
They're doing one of First Blood's Rambo, and then he's doing this live event, which is literally he is being asked pre-selected, curated questions.
Wow.
So there's no audience interaction. You go, there's a band, you have dinner, and then he is sitting on stage and some schmuck asks him softball questions. And then you go home $400 to $800 poorer.
Sounds like a great night for everyone involved, especially Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, especially if your name's Sylvester Stallone. He was charging $400 for his autograph at New York City Comic Con.
Yeah, I mean,
Greg. Well, Sly, fuck it.
I'm sure he's really struggling for money.
I mean, have you seen Samaritan? I suspect.
I didn't. I've cruised right the fuck over Samaritan every time it comes up on my screen.
Oh man, it's not terrible, but it's not great.
Oh no, okay. Well.
Going back to the film, did you notice this bizarre credit that I've never seen before in a movie based on a premise by John Long?
Yeah, the mountain climber John Long. So the movie's based on a premise with a story by someone else and a screenplay by two other motherfuckers. That sounds like a lot of cooks in the kitchen.
So I think I'm pretty sure I read about this. There was a lawsuit. So the original script came to, I think it was it might have been Canon. No, it wasn't Canon. Corelco, that's it. Came to them and they were making Gale Force, which was going to be this
awesome.
Yeah, like Stallone v Pirates during a storm. And the budget for that went to like $45 million. So they said, no, we're not doing it. They switched to Cliffhanger because they had the script. But I guess after it was in production, or maybe after it was made, I think it was John Long came along and said, I had this idea a ways back. I told it to this guy. Ooh. He turned it into a screenplay, something like that. Oh, so in subsequent releases, I believe that's what it was. He got a story by credit.
Oh, well, okay. If he got paid and for his really incredible, unique, and genius idea of Die Hard on a cliff.
Yeah. What if a guy gets in trouble in the mountains?
That was my idea. I thought of that one night. It'd be in the snow. Yeah, it should be in the snow.
So McClane loses his shoes My guy loses his jacket.
Suing.
I always love it in a movie where someone's wearing night vision goggles when you can see as plain as day without them. Maybe even better. Brilliant, beautiful moonlight.
I'm never on board with shooting day for night. Like it just never looks right. It never looks right, especially if you have some motherfucker wearing these glasses and like the old flare to the
flare to the night vision. The old flare to the night vision. Get you every time.
You fell victim to one of the classic blunders.
I feel like too these movies had like a really tenuous grasp on exactly what night vision goggles do, and what they were capable of at the time. It's like, yeah, you can see at night. Sure, fine, okay, he's wearing them. I don't know if shut up. I said he's wearing them. All right, it's like the bolt gun in the film.
Oh, the bolt gun, yeah.
Which is not a thing that exists. They're like, fuck it. He just shoots bolts into the mountain. I'm sure that will not spray fragments of rock back in his face, which will cause him to fall off the mountain.
I like to think of myself as a critical thinker, but I did not at any moment second guess that. I'm like, yeah, bolt gun. These things exist. Sure. What the fuck do I know about mountain climbing?
Have you guys ever seen the Bruce Willis movie Color of Night?
Yes.
No.
With his dick.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's got a film with a nail gun written by someone who has never been even, I suspect, in the same zip code as a nail gun, because that thing is used like a sniper rifle.
Oh, it can shoot nails?
Oh, yeah, shoots nails like from a distance with pinpoint accuracy.
Yeah, that's not how that works.
No. But the plot hinges on Annie Oakley.
Vital to the story.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Annie Oakley nail gun action is vital. Yeah, come on, guys. Like, I'm sure you researched something between lines. Can we not just,
No, we can't.
Can we talk about Janine Turner? Where is she?
Yeah.
And is she the most beautiful woman that's ever lived on Earth?
She's a right-wing pundit now.
Oh, okay. Well, bye.
So beautiful she may still be, but her soul is rotted and terrible.
It's ugly. No, I mean, I think I assume that there's a reason why people. I mean, that's not true, especially when it comes to actresses as they start to age. They don't necessarily get the same roles that they should. Yeah, so never mind. I was going to go somewhere with that. That doesn't make sense. So I take it back.
I think we need to address, and I don't know if you guys have seen this. I unfortunately I did not bring a visual aid, but the maniacal expression on the face of the actor playing Frank.
Oh yeah, the big grin.
As that big "I just blew in my pants" grin. As what's her face is like hanging for her life.
Saw that too. Am I seeing this right? Is he laughing?
The mountain will feed tonight.
And he's a big deal. What's his name?
Ralph Waite. Ralph Waite.
Yeah, who's in? He's in all these movies that I've seen that I don't remember him in. Apparently, like Cool Hand Luke. But I can only assume that he didn't know the camera was on. He didn't know that this was supposed to be a dramatic scene because he's laughing his ass off as this woman's about to die. He's just thrilled. He looks delighted.
Yes, he is, man. Damn it.
It's awesome that like nobody really noticed that for so long because you're so like engrossed in what's happening. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. Motherfucker grinning ear to ear.
Yeah.
You know what else I would have, what I would like to have seen in this movie? I would have really liked somewhere there's like an outtake of Sylvester Stallone grabbing a rabbit and trying to wrap a fucking like beeping tracker thing around it. The rabbit getting away from him and like it's got to chase the rabbit and like trying to strap the thing on. I'm like, this would have been comedy gold if they'd shot this and put it on the screen.
Jesus.
I want to see the scene where he's leaving out Lucky Charms. He's leaving Lucky Charms out and then he just beats the shit out of the rabbit once he catches it.
I also wouldn't have minded the scene of watching him make a snowman. Like that would have been kind of
awesome. Dude, when Travers punches that snowman, I'd laugh my ass off.
I make jokes, but I actually really like about the character that at no point does he like take some of the bills and stuff them down his pants At no point
Sure.
is Gabe remotely interested in this shit at all. Now, if you burn $3 million or $100 million, whatever, that's not going to warm you up for very long. That's just paper. It's thank you for the light, but still, like his complete dismissal of the like in so many movies. I think this action movie does some things that a lot of action movies wouldn't do. Most action movies would have had like that opening sequence where the girl lives and you get to see what a great hero he is.
Mhm.
Most action movies would have been like, oh, and the hero at the end, actually, he got the money. He was able to squirrel some way.
Yep.
Oh, I got the one
Yep.
diamond at the end or some shit,
Driving on
right?
a Pacific Coast highway with the suitcase in the passenger seat. No, they don't
Right.
go there.
They don't go there. And I actually really, really respect that.
Apparently, the initial draft, the first draft of the script, had him. The beginning of the film, he actually saves an eagle.
No.
And I saw that in trivia somewhere. He saves an
Can't be
eagle.
true.
You know,
That really
I
is.
would have loved to have seen that. Like, I love America. Fly, my
Yeah.
child.
That would have been, I mean, there would have been no need for Ace Ventura to parody that. It would have already been Ace Ventura, basically.
Like everything in the scene is the same except the woman is an eagle. Like he runs out on the line to get it.
Michael Rooker is very concerned about it.
Rooker's yelling at him. Frank's laughing.
There's a plan to get dinner with the eagle later at night.
It was still on. Whew. Well,
So, where have we exhausted ourselves on points from this film? Is there anything that we've left out?
body count I think is 18. The squib count's off the charts. I mean, it's profane as fuck. This is a true cold-blooded action movie from the 90s, man. I mean,
what is Max Perlich and his other like ski bum buddy? What are they doing in this movie?
Yeah,
What purpose is
they're
this?
there. They're there.
Why?
Just being mercilessly slaughtered because Rennie Harlan hates people.
It's literally like they show up to just be some innocent victims. Like they serve.
They really do.
I'm trying like as I'm watching the movie, like why are they here? Why is Frank here? Like what purpose do these characters serve other than to show up and get dead? And Frank actually like basically delivers the helicopter to the bad guys, and that's the reason his character exists.
It's true.
Max Perlich or Perlich, whatever you say, I don't
yeah.
actually know. Him and his buddy, they serve zero function.
It's odd because you have these type of characters like Enemy of the State, like Jack Black is that character, but its purpose is to introduce the danger of the plot to the audience in a fun way. We already know the stakes here, so like why do we have these dipshits?
And when they jump off the mountain, like they jump off a mountain and then they're like miles and miles in the sky. I'm like, no.
I saw that they really jumped out of an airplane.
Clearly,
like 3 Mount St. Helens stacked on each other. They're just like randomly base jumping for fun. Come on.
They jump off a mountain and there's like a town directly below them, miles and miles. I'm like, this is not how things work.
No, it really isn't. I don't know. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
Aspen Extreme just came out. Maybe they were trying to coattail his success.
It's not bad enough they get shot and fall off a mountain too. He's got to get attacked by wolves at the bottom.
Yeah,
just for fun. Just for funsies. Which wolves attacking in the wild, I'm not really crazy about that trope in film, but at least it makes sense. He's got blood all over him and stuff. I laughed my ass off when Stallone and Janine Turner are in the cave and they're freaking out about the bats. I'm like, this is not the first or last movie to have characters afraid of a bunch of bats, but I'm like, every time I see this in a movie, I'm like, you might as well have them fighting a bunch of squirrels. Like, this is not dangerous. This is just funny to me that you're all just screaming at bats. It just makes me laugh.
Yeah, I was pretty scared.
You're scared?
Bats. Yeah, if I see a bat, I'm gonna run away screaming.
If I see a bat, I'm gonna like try and pet it.
Okay.
I can't think of a less terrifying animal myself. I mean, it's like a furry, it's like a flying squirrel. Anyways, you've seen bats, you know what they are. I've got more complaints about Lithgow's notes in here than I probably needed to take.
Yeah, please. I'm ready for him.
I mean, his accent, when he says the kill a man and you're a murderer, kill a million and you're a conk. I'm like, oh my God, this line I love Lithgow so much. He's terrible in this. He's terrible in this. I'm sorry, dude. He's really bad. He's uneven. He's like, there's no sense of glee or mirth. It's just like, he must have been having a bad time. I don't know. a lot of people, when we said we were going to do this movie, were like, oh, I love Lithgow. He's a classic bad guy in this. I'm like, and I love Lithgow. I love Lithgow. I think he's annoying in this.
He's so over the top. It's like he's got an older brother who's a much more evil terrorist, and so he's trying super hard to be like, no, I'm more evil. Fuck
I'm more evil.
I'm gonna shoot this rabbit. Then we're gonna have to reshoot the scene because that really pisses everyone off. We kill a bunch of people. That was not on.
Eric, we grew up in Pennsylvania. What is this accent? Don't mind the accent, you bastard.
You bastard. Although I do think that the moment that rings least true in the entire movie is when the British henchman asked him if he likes soccer. I'm like, no, he fucking wouldn't. No, he wouldn't say that. I don't. It's like the most hollow moment in the whole film.
Oh man, it's cringe.
And I'm watching it. I'm like, Rooker, take the knife out. Why are you just being a punching bag?
Yes, he waits till like he's literally dangling off the mountain to make his move. Like, how did you know you were going to get that opportunity? Like, bizarre.
I will let him kick me until his leg is sore.
I gotta outlast his leg.
Break his toes on my teeth. I'll get him. What is happening here?
One more kick to the face. I'm gonna see if my knife fell out of my pants or not. Strange, but fun.
Well, and that kind of gets to the heart of it. I think is that you know there's a lot of fun. I mean, the movie again, like there's puns. What I think the last thing that Stallone says is, "I'm out of here," or like one of the there's like an explosion, and he's like, "I'm out of here."
Credits.
Like, oh man.
Bizarre. Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of credits, 9 minutes worth of credits. I was amazed. I'm like, is this a Disney movie? Like, why is it they're 9 minutes? But my favorite part was in the credits, there was credited was Thor as Thor. Who's Thor? The rabbit?
It must be the rabbit.
That's all I could think of.
Is there a dog? I feel like Thor might be a dog.
It sounds like a dog's name, but do you remember a dog in the movie?
Because there's a dog. I'm pretty sure there's a dog named Thor in Bad Moon, and that was made in '94.
So it could have been the same dog.
Be Thor.
Maybe.
Check that.
How many Hollywood critters were named Thor in the early '90s? Could have been more than one.
I can look this up now. This is important. We've
never
done anything more important than discover who is Thor.
This is vital. I mean, he's the man of many names. I guess there's lots of Thors out there. He might be combing through for a while.
The dog of better. Okay, well now this is bullshit because I'm going to get nothing but Chris Hemsworth. No, that's not what.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So yeah, Under Siege 2, Dark Territory, ripping.
Yeah, I'm sorry. They sent that like at 7:50. I'm really bad at this at putting
we were talking about action films from the 90s.
Yeah, we were.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, Dark Territory.
Dark Territory.
That's awful.
Yeah,
Under Siege, decent. Part 2.
Who was the bad guy in Dark Territory? Was that
Gary Busey?
Yeah.
No, that was the first one. Part 2, I don't know. I have to look that up.
It was Eric Bogosian.
That's right. No, you're right. That was so fucking weird.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for him because I love talk radio. Talk radio is one of my favorite films.
Amazing.
And then I'm watching it, just slumming it with that piece of shit, Steven Seagal.
Yeah, maybe he put himself in debt making talk radio. I don't know.
Well, it's about that time.
It's about that time. Let's discuss what do we think of this movie? Anybody want? Eric, you want to go first?
I talked it up last year. Yeah, last year I watched it, and it had been since like 94, 95 since I kind of broke the VHS tape and never replaced it. So yeah, last year I was hooting and hollering. I literally called it the best action movie of the 90s. And remember, I'm talking straight action, not talking action comedy, action sci-fi, action romance, like or anything like that. I still think it's way up there. I'm hard pressed to find another one that's just straight dumb entertainment. We got great stunt work here. Okay. We got incredible practical stunts and beautiful scope and fun writing. I mean, sure, it's dumb, but it's fun. The film was nominated for a Razzie as Best Picture in as Worst Picture in '93. Completely unfair. I mean, there was such shit that year, and I don't know why this movie got a bad reputation from an audience either, because I think it's a fucking lot of fun. It's thrilling as hell. You got a premise that's executed really well by Rennie Harlan, in my opinion. Fellow Finn, Rennie Harlan, and I still love the movie. I have a lot of fun with it. I absolutely think it holds up. It's fucking fantastic for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I second that. I think its biggest fault is it has no sense of humor. It's like Harlan, I think, is at his best if there's a little bit of a wink going on. You know, I think that's why like Die Hard 2, that's got a sense of humor. It's Ford Fairlane. I mean, I just watched that for the first time a little while ago. It's a great, I mean, sure, it's got Dice, but like it's a lot of fun. If you can get on board with what Dice is doing, it's a ton of fun. But this one is so fucking serious. And I kind of wonder if that had to do with Stallone, because he'd come off that run of failed comedies.
Yeah, maybe.
He's like, no jokes. I'm not, people don't like it when I make jokes, you know? I mean, we like it when you make jokes. You're just bad at it, you know? Because I don't think he's ever made a great comedy, like even a good comedy. Because there's like Oscar, Stop My Mom Will Shoot, Avenging Angelo, which is embarrassing.
Rhinestone.
Oh man, Rhinestone.
Yeah. Awful.
So you're saying it holds up?
Yeah, I think it holds up. Again, it's a little too serious. It's got the stupidest, most incompetent villains in the history. But we didn't even talk about the fact that they tried to shoot a fucking avalanche.
We didn't talk about that. That's right. That does happen. He's like shooting upwards.
Yeah. First, he fires a rocket. He's like, well, I know what we're going to do to screw a Sylvester Stallone. Well, we are also up here on this mountain with him. Yeah. Let's fire a rocket into the mountain.
Bizarre.
But, I think it holds up.
Cool.
All right. Then it's on me. Will this be a clean sweep? In a lot of ways, this movie is predictable, very traditional and kind of cookie cutter in some ways. But as I mentioned, I think it also bucks against some of those things in surprising ways, especially for an action star that was clearly desperate for, well, not desperate, but badly wanting a hit in the genre. And I think that the comedic moments actually in this film are usually weaken it. It could have used more natural levity. I agree, like kind of like more like just kind of like there's no real, especially I think between Hal and Gabe, there could have been a little bit more interplay that could have been like more friendly and funny in some ways to ground their history a little better. The puns very much come like, okay, we're in the last gasps of the what was normal in the 1980s for this genre, so we're going to keep doing this bit. But you know what? Yeah. When I finish a movie, I'm pretty much immediately aware of if I feel like it holds up or does not. And this is one of those times where there's no question to me that it held up. I didn't have to hem and haw at all. It's a flawed movie. There's some very cheesy bits and some misfires and stuff, but it's a fun movie. I mean, when I started, I was like, fuck, was it like an hour and 50? I'm like, this is longer than it needs to be, but I didn't get bored. I stuck with it, and the action sequences were strong, and even the sets were, a little overused in some places, but effective. Good movie overall.
Well, if you want to ruin your experience of it, though, remember at the end when Stallone is having his victory moment, he still doesn't know Frank is dead.
Oh shit!
So he's going to come down off the mountain like, I can't wait to see my friend Frank after surviving that nightmarish hellscape. Oh, by the way, Frank's got some new holes in him. He's over there.
But I'll tell you what, his art just really increased in value.
Yeah. Some would call it a comeuppance for laughing at your friend's untimely death.
So my headcanon, Frank can never die.
He's gritting his way through hell, even still. So that is Rennie Harlan's Cliffhanger. All right. 3 holds up. I bet if Mike was here, he probably would have said it held up too. That's my guess. That's awesome. So at this point is when we typically announce what our next feature film will be that we're discussing. Brennan, I actually already told you, but it's an opportunity for you to learn, Eric, and the listeners to learn. It's October. Yeah. It's time to get into the spooky shit. I'm all about that spooky shit. I often have the opposite problem as you, Brennan, where the people in my life do not want to get into the spooky shit. And they're like, oh, you're talking about stuff in the sky again. Please stop. So I'm excited to get us back into a horror movie. And it's been a very long time since we've done a non-English language movie.
Ooh.
I'm taking us to South Korea.
Damn.
Now, Mike, if you're listening, I bet all of the money I've ever had in my entire life that you've never seen this movie. Eric, I think you have. I want to take us back to a movie that I've seen one time since the podcast started and thought, I think this might be one of the better horror movies I've seen. The South Korean 2016 film from Na Hong Jin, The Wailing.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm definitely excited. I think this needs to be, well, I'm hoping, I'm not going to show my cards, but this needs to more outreach. More people need to know about the film.
You have seen it, right?
Yeah.
Eric? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Brennan, you have not?
I have not.
I suggest it, man. I do suggest it. I suggest it to all the listeners. It's streaming on a whole bunch of shit right now. It's on like Tubi. It's on like everything. It's really easy to find.
Good old Tubi.
Good old tubes. So that's it for us for now. You could email the show at cinema9pod@gmail.com. Please, leave us a review, a rating, do all the things that, help us get up in the rankings and that kind of stuff. We solely appreciate it. Brennan, dude, again, I've been wanting you on the show for a long time. I'm glad that you were so eager and accommodating to come on with our kind of wonky schedule, because there were some issues with that too. But man, it's been really great having you.
Oh, this has been a ton of fun, man. And again, I'd come back. I'd love to come back anytime.
Sure,
and next time, I will not have these problems, because I figured out literally in the last 10 minutes.
What was it?
Yeah. The Bluetooth headphones that I started off using kept reconnecting and pulling the connection away from my headset and microphone. So it had nothing to do with the Wi-Fi, nothing to do with overheating computer, just a cheap pair of piece of shit Bluetooth headphones.
It's all good, man.
It's really fun to learn that at the very end, right?
Right. Oh, I was real happy, real happy with myself.
So check them out over on, do you have like a collective pod? Is Largely the Truth like a host for your other sites, or?
No, I usually send people to Ghost Story Guys. Go to ghoststoryguys.com. We're on all podcast platforms everywhere. And then, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Largely the Truth. And everything kind of, those are probably the places to go for me is largely Twitter and Instagram, and everything you can kind of find from there. But Ghost Story Guys. And I want to give a special push, if it's okay, to our latest series, Transmissions from the Void, which is something I'm very proud of. It's a series of horror audio dramas based on short stories. And so we've had 3 come out. That's all for this year. We're going to be doing some more next year, but I'm really proud of the work we did. It's full cast. Each one has a different composer, again, different cast, full sound effects. We've adapted some really cool stuff from some up and coming horror authors, and one established author as well, Paul Kane, who's sort of known for his work on actually the Hellraiser franchise. He literally wrote the book on the Hellraiser franchise.
Oh.
So that sounds awesome, man. I'm there.
So then you can find those on the regular Ghost Story Guys feed, and they're called Transmissions from the Void.
Cool. Yeah. And all of that stuff it's a good social media follow too. It's like your Instagram is your Ghost Story Guys Instagram is memorific. A lot of fun stuff there too.
Thank you.
All right, man. It's been so good having you, Eric. It's always a pleasure to see you. Everybody, thank you so much for coming along for the ride. We will see you next week with The Wailing.
We're gonna have to go in that crack.
I'm out of here.